All right, welcome to math class. Mrs. Clark is unable to be at school today, so I'm making a quick video for her. So a couple things to note. Obviously, your schedule with iLearn is out on the right there. You need to pick up a new pink notes packet, Unit 5 notes packet. You are also going to need a calculator for today's set of notes. I'm going to go rather quickly through things, so if we need to pause the video, that's fine, but we're going to go through things quickly so that you guys can jump into your assignment that you will have today. Also notice that you have new IXL skills this week that you're going to be doing during MTSS, and in just a moment I'm going to talk to you about the scaled drawings of polygons to try to refresh your memory a little bit. Math is on Wednesday. Make sure you give your best effort as you're doing iLearn Math. Make sure that you are showing some work on scratch paper. Okay, that will demonstrate that you are putting forth at least your best effort. Okay, now that scale drawing IXL skill is DD number 1. The first thing that they're going to ask you to do is your scale factor. So you need to remember once again that that is your new shape to the original shape. Okay, so as we look at it, you can see I did it by color. So the new shape would be 42 to 14, or you could have done 27 to 9. So either one of those would be acceptable answers. Now those do simplify down to 3 if you were to divide them, simplify them, but what I want you to realize is you can just type this in, unsimplified, in IXL and they will accept it. Now, when we do it in class, I wanted you guys to simplify it down, but 27 over 9 would have been acceptable, 42 over 14, or 3. All right, so that's the scale factor. New over the original, or old, how you want to look at it. Okay, now, they're also going to ask you to find a missing side. If they're going to tell you to find a missing side, then you need to set up a proportion. So just quickly, if I need to find I, then what I did is I started with H, and then I go to G. I like to label, and so this is the way I set it up. You could have done it slightly different, but I did I, and what corresponded to I was 45. So that's what made this side of the ratio. And then I chose to go back to H, and I did 32, and that would correspond to 40. Okay, if these were different numbers, you could have done them as well. You could have done 32 to 40 with those two. If they were different numbers, it would be the same. And then you're going to do your Jimmy Neutron. So you ended up multiplying by this. You multiply those two, and then you had 40i, so you would end up dividing by 40. So remember, cross multiply, then divide. So that is your IXL skill that you're going to be working on during MTSS. Now let's jump into our Unit 5 Proportional Relationships unit. So you can kind of get an idea of what we're going to be studying. Today we're going to kind of brush up. We've already talked about unit rates a little bit in the previous unit, but we're going to focus on that today because it's an important part to where we're heading in this unit. So turn to page 1, which is on the inside cover. We're going to go through some vocab quickly. First one, we already talked about a ratio that has different units is known as a rate. Okay, so when you have a ratio that has different units, like miles comparing hours, miles to gallons, all of those would be rates. Okay, a unit rate is what we're focusing on. The big word with that is it has a denominator of 1. Okay, so it's a rate that has a denominator of 1. This is stuff we use all the time, like miles per gallon, speed limit signs, 30 miles per hour, all of those things. You go to the store and you're buying something and it's $2.25 per ounce, whatever it might be. Okay, to find unit rate, the easy way to remember it is you're just going to divide, top divided by bottom. We could set up a proportion, but just to get that denominator of 1, all you have to do is divide. Okay, you could use, when you have equivalent rates, they will have the same unit rates. So if you needed to figure out if 2 rates were equal, you could just divide each one of those and figure out what the unit rates are and if they are the same. Now, I didn't add this to your notes, but I want you to add this somewhere out to the side or underneath. When you're finding unit price, because that's going to be our focus today, anytime you're finding unit price, you're going to put money up on the top, okay? And the quantity or size, so if it's ounces, if it's gallons, whatever it might be, goes on the bottom, but the money always goes up on top. So once again, unit price, you're putting money on top. Just abbreviate, write that real quick. If we need to pause on anything, go ahead and do so. All right, so our first example, we've got 110 miles. So we're going to go 110 miles over 5 gallons. Okay, now since you're allowed to use a calculator, you're going to go ahead and do that. And we divide, and we're going to get 22. And now there's a couple ways you guys can write it. Miles, we could do the slash, which means per gallon. You guys could literally write the word per, but there's our answer, 22 miles per gallon. You have to have 2 units when you're writing it out, okay? All right, it could also have been written this way if we were doing the proportion. Now, this is not the way you're going to normally see it, but 22 miles in 1 gallon. Okay, next one, we have 180 meters in 30 seconds. We're going to divide. Now, if I didn't have a calculator, I'd just chop off those zeros, and then 18 divided by 3 is 6. So this would be 6 meters per second would be the speed. All right, this one, money. So even if the money was written over here, we're still putting money up on top because with unit price, we put money on top, and we have our 12 ounces on the bottom. So put $1.32 over 12. You would type this into your calculator. Once again, since we're going to be quick today, I want you guys to get homework time. I'm the one doing the calculations, and you could type it in on your own. Well, later you will. So you get 11 cents per ounce. So that would be the unit price for that item. All right, jumping to number 4. Yes, I know a lot of you would try to change these to decimals. However, I don't want you to do that. We want to just refresh your memory that, hey, just because you have fractions doesn't mean you can't do this. So it'd be written this way, okay? 1/4 of a gallon over 3/10 of a mile. We want to remember that this right here means division. So all we have to do is we take this to the side and we do 1/4 divided by 3/10. Then you need to remember those 3 wonderful letters, KCF, keep the first fraction the same, change to multiplication, and you're going to flip the second fraction. Now, you can try to simplify diagonally. Notice we can divide both of these by 2, so this would become 5. This would become 2. We multiply across, and we're going to get 5/6. So this answer would be 5/6 of a gallon. So you're almost getting 1 full gallon per mile, or you're using that. Okay. Now, this one, we're going to fill in this ratio table. Then we can actually find the unit rate from the table. But either way, we can find the unit rate. We could have just done the unit rate straight from this. We'll come back to that in a second. But so what we're trying to do is we're trying to fill this table in. What did I do to 15 to get to 5? Well, we divided by 3. So if I divide this 30 by 3, we get 10. Now to go from 5 to 1, we would divide by 5. So 10 divided by 5 is 2. And to go from 1 to 1/2, we divided that by 2, and we divide this by 2, and we get 1. Now, I am going to try to see if I can get my different colors to come up. It doesn't. So we will disregard that. Now, if we go and look at the question, which is important, we need to make sure we read our questions. It's asking us for unit rate, but it's asking us for 2. Okay, you can write each unit rate twice because we can go gallons per minute, and then over here they ask us for minutes per gallon. So you're flipping the units. And so when you ask yourself, well, how do I know what I'm supposed to do? Read the directions. It's going to tell you. So on the first one, they want gallons, and then they want minutes on the bottom. So if I'm doing, so we could take, like I said, that first ratio, and we can put the gallons. In that case would be 30 gallons over 15. And then when I divide that, I'm going to get 2, and I get 2 gallons per minute. So that's the first unit rate. Now, I also want you to notice something. We were looking for minutes or time to be 1, and that is this ratio right here in the table, 2 to 1. So anytime you see a 1, that's going to be a unit rate. Now, the second way they want us to write it is they want us to put minutes on top, and they want us to put gallons on the bottom. So go back to the original one. We could put 15 minutes on top and 30 on bottom. We could simplify that to 1/2, or you could just do the decimal version, and it'd be 0.5. And in that case, it would be 0.5 minutes per gallon. And if you notice, that would be this ratio right there, which is 1/2 per 1. So that's unit rates can be written in 2 ways based on the labels. You got to read the directions, figure out what they want. Okay. And if it is money, we're putting money on top. All right. The last one. So this is what you guys are doing today. We're going to compare unit rates. So this is what you guys should be doing when you go to a store and you're trying to figure out which is the best deal. So we have option A, and if we count all the eggs here, there is a full dozen. So there are 12 eggs in this first one. So right now, yes, it's $1.08. You're spending more here compared to here, but over on option B, you're only getting 8 eggs. So right now you're comparing 2 different things. You got 12 to 8, and that's not the same. So when we compare, we want them to be the same. So we're going to find the unit price. So we're going to put the dollars on top, and we're going to take the 12 eggs and put it on bottom, and then we're going to divide. Now, it's not always going to work out pretty. As you guys do your activity today, money isn't going to work out pretty every time. So this ends up being 9 cents per egg exactly. Okay, so this one, you're paying 9 cents per egg. Over here, we're paying 76 cents for 8 eggs. So we're going to take our calculator, we'll divide, and when you get this, we're not even going to bother rounding it. We're just going to leave it like this for now. We could round it. You're going to pay, so it ends up being 0.095, which, you know, if we rounded it, don't necessarily round with the money because you know, it's not always going to, and it might end up looking like they're the same, especially with our activity today. But you can tell that 0.95 is more than just 0.9. So here you're only paying 9 cents. There you're paying almost 10 cents per egg. So the better deal, okay, would be option A in this case. All right, so that's what you guys are focusing on today. So your substitute's going to hand out the unit prices right activity page, and what you're going to need is definitely a calculator. And so what we did is we took real life items. So you're going to go through and you're going to start with this one, and you're going to look and you're going to compare. So when you go to the store, you have an option. You can buy a 5-ounce bag, or you could buy a 32-ounce bag. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your you are going to just write it out real quick. You're going to take your calculator and go, okay, this one, I'm getting $1.49 for 5 ounces. You're going to take your calculator and you're going to divide that. You're going to do $3.99, and you're going to divide that by 32 ounces, and you're going to see which is the better deal. So you'll write the unit price here. So I haven't done it yet, so I'll just do one of these with you. So if I divide this first one, I'm going to literally write what it says. So it ends up being 2.298, and that would be per ounce. Okay, so that's almost 30 cents per ounce. We're going to see what this one is, and we would go $3.99 divided by 32 ounces, and here you can see a significant difference. This ends up being, I'm not going to write the whole thing, but it ends up being about 12 cents per ounce. So it's very clear in this case. Here you're spending almost 30 cents per ounce. Bag B, yes, you're paying more up front, the $3.99, but you're only paying 12 cents per ounce, so you're going to get a lot more for what you're paying. And so the better deal in this case would be bag B. All right, so that's what you guys are doing. You're going to look at drumsticks, Twizzlers, Reese Cups, which of course is the best candy. Twizzlers is not bad as well. You're going to look at things like batteries, diapers. So Mr. Baker, when he made this, that was back when my kids were in diapers, so I cared about that. So anyway, this is assignment 31. You have the rest of the class to work on it, and it is due the next time you have math class. Have a great day.